have a quorum. This is Mayor Kevin Smith. This is a special call meeting on a street problem that we have on York Street. It's for just the brief purpose only to discuss that problem and welcome any guests that are here in the media. Ms. Ramsey, call the roll.
Crockett. Davis.
Here.
Etherly.
Here.
Forward. Franklin. St. Columbia.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Gives us 4.
Okay, so the only item on the agenda today is April 12th. A year ago, about 9:30 is when the Easter storm hit. So this is an anniversary of sorts, not a good kind, but I guess it's a good kind that we survived it. But we have another smaller crisis on York Street, and some of you may have seen it, but it's very similar to what happened on York Street a couple of years ago before I was mayor, up closer to Cherry Street. It's the same street, same basic general problem with the old pipe that's 100 years old collapsing, and the void underneath it caving in the floor, caving in the road. If you haven't had a chance to go by there or seen the pictures, it's pretty bad, and it's in the vicinity of the concrete culvert that gets right up to that point and takes a turn to the southwest to join a bigger culvert coming down Pecan Street that was part of that Corps of Engineers drainage program 20 years ago. The water apparently has been stopping right there where at one time there was a drainage area, natural drainage area, and then 100 years ago, or I'm not sure exactly, but when they built the big levee on near Ohio Street today, they closed off part of that big pipe, drainage pipe, and then they closed off the other part right there, right before it hits that culvert. But it still was open for stormwater drainage, and it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but it held up a lot longer than it really should have. And so the water, WWW, water will win, and water found a way. And so the pipe is collapsed there. It's, like I said, it's very similar to the problem y'all had several years ago up York Street. And what we're asking you tonight is obviously they showed up this morning to open up the hole and see what it was. It's obvious after we opened it up that it was going to be over my spending authority. And so we immediately asked Ms. Ramsey to set up a meeting, sort of as we discussed before. We can have meetings, this sort of virtual sidewalk, but same same idea. So we asked them to work together to give us a ceiling on how much we're talking about. It was about $75,000 for the project that York Street was 3 years ago. They don't think that it'll be over 75, but it could be close enough that was the ceiling that the vendor asked for. And I will add this though, the project does now include, or will include if you approve this, to take that part where the water was hitting the wall that created a lot of this problem, and also backed up and probably contributes to all the other problems, including the original problem. But that's me talking, not any experts. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it will reopen that. All right, it will reopen that water to the concrete culvert that is right next to it, and carry that water on out through our system through concrete culverts. So instead of it's not just filling a hole, it's filling a hole and finding an outlet for that water, for that huge pipe that contributed to the problem several years ago. So in other words, it's also solving that drainage problem. we haven't said that. Ken is on, Bobby's on, so we'll take any questions.
Okay, well, I just sent everybody pictures, Mayor, Don and Miss Davis and yourself and Sandy and Miss Howard. I have sent everybody pictures of the project. So if y'all want to view it or y'all can go by and look at it. But Ken assisting us on that, he can give you more information on it, Mr. Whaley.
Yeah, and gentlemen, and Mr. Etherly, I saw you there. In fact, it looked like you were out there looking at it. I think you were one of the ones that came to that special meeting we had a block down the road when that other collapse occurred. So you know pretty much what you're looking at. We got that very old culvert, and it has collapsed, and it's going to have to be. We're not tying into it the way you normally would tie culverts together, because the pipe, just like last time, it's so old. We kind of we've kind of designed a little coupling. We actually stick a pipe up inside that old pipe and then pour a collar the best we can around it to make it waterproof, which is why when someone may say, well, why do we need to use all this B-stone? If you use sand or material, there's not really any way to get a watertight connection. And if we use sand, something cheaper than the B-stone, sand or dirt, it could very easily get back into the pipe, and then it would start undermining the road again. So we use the B-stone to kind of filter that water, any leaks that go into there. And that's just the best you can do. There's nothing you can do. That pipe is like parchment paper. And again, those of you who've seen it now or back then, you understand it's just full of holes and very difficult to tie into. So that's one of the reasons why it takes the time. The other time factor on this one is getting into that existing box. That's not going to be an easy task. It's a well reinforced, very more than likely old concrete, which means it's going to be very strong. And they're going to have to saw cut a hole into it for the size of the pipe, which we're using a 30-inch pipe to put that pipe into that existing box, so that now you have a continuous path of that water to get into that box and on into the Pecan Street drainage. Now, this drainage, one way or the other, ends up at the same location. So it's not like we're putting water from somewhere to where it wasn't going before. It's just getting there a tad bit upstream. One thing, Mayor, I'd like to point out is, remember when we asked the contractor to give us an estimate, he had to do the best he can. The big number, of course, is the labor. He's got 8 days. Now, if things go well, and maybe it goes better than we're expecting. I mean, he has to cover himself, and he doesn't want to give you a grossly undercut number. It may take 8 days, may take 9, but then again, it could take 6. And for every day less it takes in his 8, knock 6,000 off the price. So that is one thing. It's not a set 63.4. I'm hoping that with some good weather,
Yes.
and a little bit of luck, maybe we can get it done faster than 8 days. But we just need to go ahead and count on 8 days. That's what everybody's kind of estimating. That's pretty much what I've got my engineering estimated at when I said you better go ahead and allow for 75. Give us a little contingency, give a little room for some engineering. My role is going to be mainly technical support and having a project rep down there with the contractor, trying to work through some of these issues that always tend to pop up. The other good thing about this particular contractor, he's very familiar with this. He's the one that fixed the last hole. So he understands where if you'll excuse the pun, where the pitfalls are in this operation. Certainly the mayor is correct. The longer you wait on this, we get a big rain, the water comes through there, and it's going to continue to wash more soil away. We've got a very large power pole that sits right in the middle of it. Fortunately, the power pole has lines in 4 directions, which has it somewhat stabilized. We're also within about 10 to 12 feet of a building footing there. So it's something that needs to be tended to before it worsens, or you could actually be looking at something even worse. So that's it in a nutshell. Mr. Jones has done a really good job. He's got the street and the alley closed there to try to keep any public traffic out of the area. Hopefully by now, I hadn't been back down there. Hopefully by now, he's got the sidewalk closed off where to try to prevent someone from walking into the area, with the fencing and the barrels. And the easiest thing on the traffic was just close that section. The only people who have to get in there is the newspaper, and they can come down the alley. But again, there should be a road closed sign on that alley to prevent the public from coming down the alley and getting into the work site.
Again, I know we barely have a quorum, and I want to make sure city council has a chance to ask questions. So,
Okay. No, that's my report.
okay, thanks. Questions from the city council? And of course, what we're asking you to do, the action item, is to waive competitive bidding. Hopefully y'all have been able to see it. We're going to put it on third and final reading and read it, but it sets a ceiling of $75,000 to waive bidding and give us the authority to proceed. And then at the bottom, it points out that the city attorney will be part of that negotiation before we sign the actual contract. There's no contract to sign. This is just allowing us to proceed. And the last time y'all faced something like this before I became mayor, time is money. So we're kind of all been there, done that, and just hoping we can move on. So I would ask if you can to support that, but be quiet and ask for any questions first.
Was that ordinance email?
It was printed and handed to me from, I think it came from Andre, and Miss Sandy handed it to me. Maybe I just assumed that it was emailed. And I think Andre is on his way to another city attorney meeting in Parkin or somewhere like that. So I guess he's on. Ms. Ramsey, did we get a chance to email this to the council?
I didn't. I just thought Andre did.
No, I don't show it in my email thread
Okay.
on this topic.
I probably we all just assumed that it was emailed to the council, I guess, from Andre, but I'm gonna, Don, would it help if I read it? Or do you want, maybe I can forward an email to you quicker to the
I mean,
council.
yeah, I don't have a problem waiving the bidding, but if I don't know what's in it, so it either needs to be read or you can send an email so we can all take a look at it.
I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do both if I can find his email. I don't actually see it. So it must have gone to you, Ms. Rand. I don't know if you're able to forward that.
No, I didn't get an email. Keisha walked it down the hall about 4 o'clock.
Okay. How about this? I'm going to, or as I read it, can somebody text Andre and ask him if he can get it emailed to us?
Sure.
Somehow? If somebody
Okay.
did that, and I'll start reading it. What ordinance would this be, Sam?
Number 11.
Ordinance number 11, 2021.
Yes.
It's an ordinance waiving competitive bidding in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated section 1458-303, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract to repair a street, for the city of Helena-West Helena and for other related purposes. Whereas the city of Helena-West Helena has an immediate need for street repairs for the effective and efficient operation of the city of Helena-West Helena streets, and whereas time is of the essence and it is not feasible to advertise for bids at this time, now therefore be it ordained by the city council for the city of Helena-West Helena as follows. Section 1, waiver of competitive bidding. Pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 14-15-303, the city of Helena-West, Helena City Council makes the finding that exceptional circumstances exist and the bidding procedure is not feasible at this time. The city council, also don't forget to forward that to the media as well. Sorry. City council waives competitive bidding related to the repair of York Street in Helena-West, Helena. The city of Helena-West, Helena, Arkansas City Council has determined that it is necessary to waive competitive bidding and award the bid in accordance with the grant. The mayor is authorized to execute all contracts necessary to complete the project. The total estimated cost of the project, including estimated fees and incidentals, is not to exceed $75,000. C, the mayor is authorized to execute all contracts to secure this, to secure the repairs to the street up to the amount contained in this ordinance. Contract is with Reese Construction Company Incorporated, 1093 SFC 442, Forest City, Arkansas, 72335. In addition, the mayor and city attorney are authorized to finalize all negotiations relating to execution of the contract. And then on the back is section 2 severability clause and section 3 repealer and section 4 emergency clause. So in other words, waive bidding up to $75,000 for Reese Construction to be signed upon both the city attorney and I reading it and agreeing to it. And I believe from what everybody's told me, something in the neighborhood of 50,000 to 75 is where it's going to end up, but we don't know for sure. And if Ken or Bobby, if that's wrong, correct me.
Mayor Joe St. Columbia, I see no problem from what you read there. And then this is similar to what we had down on the other project on York. So I'll make the motion to waive if I can get a second and accept that ordinance.
The St. Columbia waives, we put, I'm sorry, makes a motion
To move, yeah.
that we put ordinance number 11, 2021 on third and final reading.
Second.
Ms. Davis seconds the motion. Any other questions or comments about the motion? Ms. Ramsey, call the roll.
Crockett, Davis,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
yes,
Franklin, St. Columbia,
Yes,
4 yes, 2 absent.
Mr. Adler, do I need to read this whole thing again?
No, the rules are suspended, so you need to read the title and then we'll go to the emergency clause.
emergency clause, yeah.
Okay, ordinance number 11, 2021, an ordinance waiving competitive bidding in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated section 1458-303, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract to repair a street for the city of Helena-West, Helena, and private road purse. Is there a motion for adoption of ordinance number 11, 2021?
So moved.
Second,
Ms. Davis moves final adoption of ordinance number 11. Mr. St. Columbia seconds the motion. Any other questions or comments about the motion? If not, call the roll.
St. Columbia, St. Columbia,
yes.
Ford,
yes,
Etherly,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Crockett, Franklin, 4 yes.
That's about 20
Motion-
yeses from Miss Davis.
Pardon, yes, 8
Okay.
people voted yes.
he's so messy.
Motion
We accept it.
passes. And now we need a motion for adoption of the emergency clause on ordinance number 11, 2021.
So moved,
Ms. Davis moves approval of the emergency clause for ordinance number 11, 2021. Mr. St. Columbia, did you second?
Second,
Any other discussion or questions? If not, call the roll.
Davis, Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Yes, yes. Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
St. Columbia,
Yes,
Franklin, Crockett, 4 yes.
Motion passes. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any other questions, of course, we'll try to keep you updated as this develops over the next few days. If anybody asks about their AT&T line over there, the locate service got it wrong, not the city. And they're fixing that tonight as we speak, should be fixed by in the morning. Any other questions or comments?
I have one question. I
Sure.
know that the pipe is near our city huge drainage ditch. Ken, does that empty into that there, or is there provisions of getting that done?
Yes, it will. We're gonna put that pipe into what, and it wasn't part of the core project. It was a previous project that they put an underground
Yeah.
buried culvert along York Street,
Right,
and then it ties into the Pecan Street. So we're gonna tie it into that culvert.
okay,
That normally takes the Hickory Alley drainage.
right.
The water's been going in anyway, Miss St. Clair. There's a big hole in the bottom of the box. Water has been just going underneath the box and up into it underneath. That's what undermined it.
Well, in other words, it's presently going into that big drainage ditch then. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Well, no. I don't know if that's true. That's what it's what it's gonna do after they're through.
Okay, well.
That's what they should have done when years ago, but it's hitting a brick wall right there where that pipe was cut off years ago. And then I don't know if they did that when they built that old culvert, but the culvert's still good, and the culvert runs into the big newer culvert that the Corps did in the 90s. But it doesn't currently do that. That's one of the things they're going to do.
I know that ditch has been there a long time. I was born in the 30s, so it was there then. I used to play in it as a kid, so I know.
But see, I think they also built that levee, the one we've seen today, in the 30s. And I think that's when they cut off the eastern end of that pipe. And so they cut off the western end when they built the culvert you're talking about. And now we're going to connect those two so that the water has a place to go. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and that'll drain that'll pick up a lot of drainage from the rest of the city too.
Yeah.
Yeah, good work, Ken. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, thank y'all very much. I don't want to keep you because I want you to come to the next emergency meeting. So thank y'all. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Mr. St. Clair moves adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis seconds the motion. If there's no one opposed, then we will adjourn the meeting. Thank y'all very much.